I know what you're wondering. If you're not wondering anything. Where am I? I have been debating filming this video for so long, or I should say where I'm gonna film it, because we're in lockdown again, so my parents are home all the time, and if I am in my room filming, they don't know I make videos. They don't know. They'll probably never know. That's just, I'm awkward that way. I just loved filming when I had the house to myself. So you best believe that I'm hiding out. I'm hiding out in another building to film this. Yeah. Why am I like this? What a great start to 2021. But I kept forgetting to make this video. Never ever got around to actually like making an effort sitting down and filming. I've never had a free house to be as loud and as vocal as I want to be, because I find that when my parents are at home, I just find out like I'll be in my room and I'll be talking about books like this, and it's like, speak up bitch, I can't hear you. Like when I'm editing, it's a nightmare because I'm like, I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't know how you're gonna know what I'm saying, because even I don't know what I'm saying. It happens all the time. I could include subtitles, but I can't be bothered to do that. So anyway, this is a very late December wrap up. Happy New Year! Hello 2021. It's been a bit crap so far. We're back in lockdown. Cases in my area are on the rise. It's bad. Things are worse than ever. But you know what? I'm in a good mood. I'm in high spirits. I haven't been reading an awful lot, but you know. Anyway, it's already been a long intro. Let's get into these books. Most of these books you'll probably have seen if you watched my Vlogmas videos. You probably didn't. This is so weird. Like, I'm in an empty room. I'm at this window for some light, and the lighting, it's not right. Oh, I should have got my ring light. I have a ring light now. Not a proper one, but like a really small one that just clips onto my phone. I should have used that. Why didn't I use it? I'm not going back inside to get it. It's a really cloudy day today. That's not helping, and I'm just sitting around this window for some light. Is it okay? It's not too bad. It'll be fine. It does the job. If I'm not happy with this video, you probably won't see it. So if you're watching this, congratulations. Most of these books were documented throughout Vlogmas as I was reading them. I don't know if I talked an awful lot in detail about them. I think I sort of did. That sort of... Ooh, a little bit better though. Maybe I could move. I had to move. I couldn't stay where I was. The lighting was really bugging me. Anyway, I might just keep that intro in, so I'm not going to refilm it. So going back to what I was saying, and the first book I read last month was Murder in the Afternoon by Kate... Nope, it's a Kate Shackleton mystery. It's by Frances Brody. This book was a little bit like what I've never read any Agatha Christie, but this is what I imagine Agatha Christie books are like the Miss Marple books. I feel like this character was trying too hard to be Miss Marple. I feel like it was not as good, even though I've never read any Agatha Christie, so I don't really have the right to compare it. But however, I did just feel like it was okay. It was okay. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars because the mystery was interesting. I was gripped enough because I was curious about what had happened. At the same time, I was a bit kind of like, okay, this is very stereotypical little small town mystery where somebody's dead and everybody's acting suspicious, everybody's got motive. All the characters were a bit cookie cutter. They were just the usual cliched stereotypes. The mystery in the end, it was nothing special. It was okay. There were a few times I was just a bit like, what the actual hell is this? I'll read the back to you if you want to kind of know what it's about. Dead one minute, alive the next. A sinister disappearing act. Young Harriet and her brother Austin have always been scared of the quarry where their stonemason father works. So when they find him dead in the cold ground, they scarper quick smart. They scarper quick smart. Quick smart. I know it's not a typo, but it just doesn't sound right. And look for some help. When help arrives, the quarry is deserted and there is no sign of the body. Were the children mistaken? Is their father not dead? Did he simply get up and run away? It seems like another unusual case requiring the expertise of Kate Shackleton, but for Kate, this is one case where surprising family ties makes it her most dangerous and delicate yet. Oh yeah, that was a bit dumb. I couldn't believe it when the woman turned up and it turned out it was her long lost sister. I was like, oh my god, this is the first book I've read in this series. This is like I'm gonna say book 3, I really don't know, but there's been some before it, there's been some after it. This is just a random book in the series. I figured it would be okay. I thought these kind of stories normally are. You can just pick them up whenever. You don't really need to read like the whole series. I've read books like that in the past where I've picked them up and I found that they make reference to things that have happened in other books, but it doesn't matter too much. This book did that a lot though. It was constantly talking about previous cases and characters from previous cases, and I'm a bit like, stop. I don't, number one, I don't care. Number two, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Stop telling me about it. But yeah, I love how the first book I chose to read, one of the characters, or the character who turns up asking for help turns out to be her long lost sister, and I was like, this is not the family drama I signed up for. Anyway, I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars because it was okay. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the most amazing mystery I've ever read. It wasn't the worst. It was okay. It was just very cliched. I do love when like books are set in this kind of time period. I think it's the 50s. No, it's not. Is it the 20s actually? I'm pretty sure it's not long after the war, and I think it's the First World War, so that's like the 20s. I think it's the 20s. But it's good. It's okay. It's not good. It's not fantastic, but it was okay. It was okay. It took me a little while to read this just because I was interested, but I wasn't that bothered about it really. I would put it down and forget to read it again just because I don't really care enough. I didn't really care. That's like a running theme with me now with books, is that I don't care about them. I don't DNF them. I keep reading them, but it takes me so long to read them, and I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Next up we have In a Cottage in a Wood by Cass Green. This book I liked a lot more. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a little bit it was a bit obvious, everything that was happening. There was one thing that happened that really threw me off, and I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that one coming, but everything else I saw coming. I'll read the back to you again just so you can get an idea of the plot. A strange encounter, an unexpected gift, a twisted secret. Neve comes across a troubled woman called Isabel on Waterloo Bridge late one night. Isabel forces a parcel into Neve's hand and jumps to her death in the icy Thames below. Thames. I always say Thames when I'm reading it, but it's like it's Thames. Thames. It's my accent. The Thames. 2 weeks later, as Neve's wreck of a life in London collapses, an unexpected lifeline falls into her lap. A charming cottage in Cornwall, left to her by Isabel, the woman on the bridge, the solution to all her problems. But when Neve arrives, alone in the dark woods late one night, she finds a sinister-looking bungalow with bars across its windows, and her dream home quickly becomes her worst nightmare, a house hiding a twisted secret that will change her life forever. So this book was it started off okay. I'm so over that trope with these books where like the character, they have a life in London and they've recently broke up with their partner and their life's falling apart and they're living with a relative, and it's like the relatives basically hate them living with them, but they won't say anything to them because it's their relative and they love them. I'm so sick of that trope. I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of every trope in books. I hate them all. I hate all the tropes. All of them. I should be called the Picky Reader. The Picky Bookworm. Is that it? Somebody has that name already, I'm sure. I don't think I've just made that up. Somebody already has that name. Hi, if it's you. I'm not here to steal your gig. But I honestly should be called the Picky Reader because I am so fussy now when I read books. And I feel it's because I've read so much. I get bored of things very easily, and I love it when I get new things that surprise me and it's like, oh my god, this is great. Everything now I find is just so predictable. This was quite a predictable book. I was a bit suspicious of some characters that we just met. They seemed too good to be true, and they were. The whole thing with like the cottage, it was a bit weird. The main character was okay. I didn't mind her. She was fine. Oh, it's raining. I need the rain. What else about this book? Yeah, there was a few things there was like one major thing, I'll say, that at the end threw me off. I was like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. So it did surprise me a little with one thing, which turned out to be a big thing. So that was nice. I like that, you know. We love to be surprised, but it was just a bit. It was okay. Like if you're just wanting like a quick, easy little not really a mystery, it's more of a thriller to read, this book's perfect. It did keep me gripped. I think I read it in a few days. It's about 300 pages, I think. Yeah, 300 pages. It won't take you very long. I paid £2 for this on The Works. I've actually bought all these books in The Works. That's where I buy all my books these days because I get them for like in the £3 for £5 section. So I can't complain when they're shit, because I'm literally paying like what, less than £2 for a book. But it was okay. I did enjoy it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I can't remember if there's anything specific about it that really bothered me. I don't think there was. I think the only reason I didn't give it a 5 star was because I thought it was good though. It was a good book. It just wasn't quite good enough to get 5 stars. Listen, my average rating is probably 3 stars. I very rarely I never give 1. I've never given a 1-star rating, I don't think. I always find some sort of redeemable quality in a book to at least give it 2 stars. I've seen me giving like 3 stars a lot of the times. The occasional 2 star. 4 star, I think if a book's great and I really enjoyed it. 5 star, I feel like it has to be practically perfect in every way. I've just noticed my shadow behind me. Hey bitch, hey. Next up we have a 5-star read. I had a 5-star read this month. That's great. I'm so excited by it. And it's called The Woods by Harlan Coben. I posted a picture of this on my Instagram and the author liked it. I was like, I didn't even tag them in it. I didn't tag them. I was doing hashtag. I don't really tag people in like authors in posts that I do. But I did I was doing my hashtags. I was like hashtag The Woods, hashtag Harlan Coben. So he must have found it that way. And he liked it. I don't know why that got me so excited, but I was like, I loved your book. Thank God I wasn't bashing it. At that point I think I was just reading it. Like, I don't tend to actually write reviews on Instagram. I just post when I'm reading a book if the cover's kind of pretty. The cover was quite nice. It just so happened I was up late reading it one night and it was so good. I started reading it. I thought I'm only going to read the first few chapters, and I read like 100 pages. I stayed up to like 3 a.m. reading it and I was like, oh my god, this is so good. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 out of 5. I had never read anything by Harlan Coben before. I saw a lot of his books on the works and I was so tempted to buy more. I bought 2 in the end. I hadn't read anything in the past by him. However, I did watch The Stranger on Netflix and I absolutely loved that TV show. It was so good. It was so good. So I wanted to read The Stranger, and I did see that it was on the site and I was gonna buy it, but I decided against it because I thought, well, I did watch the show, so maybe at some other point I'll pick it up. But I decided to go for 2 books that I hadn't already read. A lot of them I think were books from series, and I thought, well, I'm not gonna do that. I don't think I'm gonna bother buying like books from a series when they're out of order. I don't have the first one. I've never read them before. So I bought these ones because I'm pretty sure they were standalones. And I read this one first. I'll read them back to you so you can get an idea what it's like, because I'm not good at plot summaries. 20 years ago, 4 teenagers disappeared in the woods at a summer camp. 2 decades later, everything changes. Paul Copeland's sister was one of the missing teenagers. Now raising a daughter alone after the death of his wife, he balances family life with a career as a prosecutor. But when a body is found, the well-buried secrets of the past threaten everything. Could the victim be one of the missing teenagers? Could his sister be alive? Copeland has to confront so much he left behind that summer 20 years ago. His first love, Lucy, his mother who abandoned the family, and the secrets that his parents have been hiding. Oh, this book. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I started reading it. I've realized now my favorite when it comes to these kind of books, I either like to read them when they're told by the perspective of like just a civilian, like a normal person, but I love it more. I think my kind of ranking is like, because this is a prosecutor telling the story, so they have rights within the law to like interview criminals and oversee like sourcing evidence and stuff like that. So I feel like he was within his right to do all that stuff. He was basically investigating the case, which I loved, and I love it when it's a prosecutor because I love court scenes. I love just reading court scenes in books. I love just seeing all the terminology. I feel like I'm learning so much from them. Even though it's fiction, I feel like there is some fact to it when it comes to like court. So I really enjoyed that. I also really like when it's a private investigator. So like private investigators and lawyers as main characters in mysteries are my favourites. I don't mind detectives. They're okay. It's fine. But I think I prefer more even like a normal person, like a civilian, telling the story of the mystery over the police. But I don't mind. But I definitely feel like I love prosecutors or private detectives when it comes to these kind of books. So as a prosecutor, I absolutely loved that. He was really getting involved. I was genuinely gripped by it. I was like, oh my gosh, what is gonna happen? Like, I feel like it was so well thought out, and it genuinely had me wondering. My brain was going wild trying to figure out the mystery, and I sort of was like trying to piece together things, but I still got things wrong. I think I got a couple of things right. I was still surprised the whole way because it just had me doubting myself. It had me doubting everybody. I was doubting main characters. I love, this is the kind of book that I love, where not everything, I mean, some people maybe reading this book would have a fair enough idea of where it's going, but for me personally, I feel like it was clever enough that it did deceive me. It had me doubting myself, it had me doubting everybody, so that's what I like. So then I feel like I do get surprised, whereas like other books, like for example like In a Cottage on a Wood, I sort of saw a lot of stuff coming, so when it was then kind of revealed, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, I thought so. Whereas with this, I just loved it. I loved it. It was great. I had a couple of issues, I think, with some characters, the way they were kind of, the way they spoke. I found it, like, I feel like a lot of characters definitely liked the main character a lot, so it was just one of those like lovable characters that everybody's kind of like happy to help, and yes sir, no sir, I don't, what? But I felt that a few times. He was a bit of a know-it-all. He wasn't afraid to like threaten people with the law. Sometimes I thought it was a little bit over the top, but I gave it a pass. I was like, it's okay. You know what? Because it's so good. So I gave it 5 out of 5. It was so good. Right up until the last page, I was like, oh my god! I loved it. I loved it. You might like it too. You might not. I don't know. It's great. I loved it. 5 stars. Yay! Now into the last book, which is another Harlan Coben book, and it is called Stay Close. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars because I feel like it wasn't quite as good. There was a few things about this one that I felt were a bit too, it was too much. It was a bit too much. There were certain things that pissed me off, but anyway, I'll get into that in a minute. A suburban wife and mother of 2 with a dark and dangerous past. A promising photographer who now ponders to celebrity-obsessed rich kids. A detective who can't let go of a cold case. 3 ordinary people who discover that when the past refuses to stay buried, the American dream can be a nightmare. This one was good. The mystery was good. I was curious about how it was all going to end up. I had a prediction of who I thought it was going to be, or like I had a couple in mind. I was like, it's either going to be you, it's either going to be you, or it's either going to be you. And then it turned out it was you. And I was like, oh. I sort of saw it coming, but I'm still surprised. I'm still surprised. It was still really good. There were a few things that pissed me off about this book though. Like, there's a guy that's missing, and his father is basically like a bit of a dodgy bloke, bit of a gangster, you know. He ends up hiring these 2 people who are like, they're called Barbie and Ken, because that's what people call them, because I think they must look like Barbie and Ken. Never got found out their real identities, so don't know, but they're Barbie and Ken, and they're basically they were like Christians. They were God worshipping, but they were also really sadistic. Like, they loved to torture people, and they worked at summer camps, they worked with kids, and I was just like, oh my god, somebody please stop these 2. Basically, the police, he's already got the police in his pocket, this guy, this gangster. He's got the police in his pocket, so he's already getting information from them about what they're doing regarding his son's disappearance. But then he's also got these other 2 goons on the go, intimidating witnesses, this and that, and it's like, why would you actually do it? Because all it did, it upset the case basically. If they'd got away with what they were doing, like what they did, or the way they were carrying on, and they were wanting to torture people, they were trying to kill people, it's like, if they'd actually got away with it, that's kind of a spoiler. It's not really, it's sort of a spoiler, but it's not really. If they got away with what they were doing, it would have completely, like, the guy would never find out what happened to his son. Like, never. Because he interfered with, like, they interfered with the police and the witnesses that were important to the case. So that, to me, that was one aspect of the story. Every time I had to read about them, I was like, actually, like, go away. You're not helping. You're not helping. You're not helping this case at all. Look at me trying to censor myself. It really bothered me. It bothered me so much every time they popped up, because I was like, this is not helping. Why would you hire these? And they were quite, some of the scenes involving them were quite graphic. I actually had to skim over one. I am not squeamish, really, when it comes to like gore and stuff, but with this, I think I'm not good when people are being tortured. Like in one scene in particular, like all it was, they were just bending this girl's finger back, and I had to read about it again in a book I'm currently reading right now, and anytime I read about like something like that, like different if obviously like, oh, they held the guy's arm behind his back and they pulled it so hard it snapped. Something about that doesn't bother me, but something about when it's fingers and like fingers are being like pulled back and you're reading about it and they're I think I'm just visualizing it, I'm feeling that pain and I'm like, oh my god, stop, please, stop it. I can't read torture scenes like that. Bones, breathing, oh, I can't, it makes me squish. So that was no good. So be warned of that, but I just skimmed over it. I kind of like just glanced ahead and I was like, okay, let's turn the page. We're done. The mystery itself was pretty good. I still enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. I was like, okay, this is fine. It was actually quite good. Some characters from the woods made a cameo appearance. I always say that. I always say cameo appearance, but like that doesn't really work in books because it's not a visual appearance. It's a written appearance. So what is that? I don't know, but I'm just going to call it that. I'm just going to say a cameo appearance. But 2 characters, because I saw one name. They didn't actually, did they have a speaking part? I don't think they spoke. But the name appeared in the book. And I was kind of like looking at it and I was like, I know you. I know you. And then I realised that it is the same character. And then another character popped up again. And I was like, hey guys, how you doing? So I love that. I love that like the characters made like an appearance. I think I would totally do that. Like if I had multiple books out and maybe they're in like similar areas, like why not have your other characters make an appearance? As long as they don't like influence the story in any way, as long as it's not like so important. Like they just literally popped up as like one of them was a lawyer, for example, and they literally just mentioned him like saying, oh yeah, he was a good defense lawyer or whatever. And I was like, I know your name, I know you. I love that. But yeah, there were a few things about this book that I didn't want to give it 5 stars because I just felt like it wasn't as good as The Woods. I didn't enjoy it as much, but it was still good. I like the characters, I like the overall mystery. I was curious about what was going down, what the situation was. Oh, pins and needles. Oh, my leg. Oh. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, my hip just clicked. My hip clicked. So that was everything I read in December. I only read 4 books. It is already the 13th of March. This is not March. Girl, please slow down. It's already the 13th of January and I'm on my first book. I'm about 100 pages away from the end though. I've been doing pretty well with it. I'm really enjoying it. I've set myself a reading goal this year of 50 books. I feel like it's pretty achievable, I think. I read 60 last year. My original goal was 40, but I read 60. So I'm thinking I'll just set it for 50 this year. No pressure. I'm not reading as much, which is weird because I've been at home. I've been at home all the time, but I'm not reading the same. But either way, doesn't really matter. No pressure. No pressure to finish it. No pressure in this house to do things. So that was everything I read. I got them from the works. 3 for £5. £2 each. I would recommend most of them, maybe not Murder in the Afternoon. But thank you so much for watching and I shall see you in my next video, whatever that may be. Probably something really random, probably nothing. You might never see me again. You'll never see me again. Why did I take so long to talk about 4 books? How do other people do the wrap-up so fast? Because I always want to complain about them, that's why. People have nice things to say about the books they read because they read good books. I read cheap shit that I end up hating. I liked most of these though. Now I'm going to try and take a thumbnail. What time is it? I'm hungry.